Protesters in Ghana have accused the country's president of violating the constitution and interfering in the independence of the judiciary. Gertrude Tokonu was removed from her post last week pending an investigation into her conduct. The demonstration in Accra was led by the main opposition, the New Patriotic Party, who were in power when Tokonu was appointed by then President Nana Akufo-Addo 2 years ago. Joining us on the line is our correspondent in Ghana, Mawena Egbeta. Eric, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Good afternoon, Lulu.
Now, the opposition protesters are calling for the reinstatement of Tokonu. Has the president made a call as yet regarding this?
No call as such has come through from the president. We know that amongst many things, these protesters, a chunk of them being led by the opposition New Patriotic Party, are demanding the reinstatement of the Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu, who's on suspension pending the ongoing processes for her removal. We know that there's been a committee that's been set up by the presidency, and amongst many other things, they are expected to begin work, and then they can determine her guilt or otherwise, which will inform whether or not she returns to the position or any other choice. The presidency and the president and all of its spokespersons around the seat of government have had one narrative and one narrative only, that no constitutional breaches have occurred in the process up until now, which has resulted in the suspension of the Chief Justice. In fact, yesterday, when the minority leader in Ghana's parliament, who is a member of the New Patriotic Party, read out their petition at the seat of government, the government's representative who was present to receive the petition on behalf of the government, Stan Dogbe, who is a deputy chief of staff at the seat of government, was emphatic that all throughout the process up until the suspension of the Chief Justice, which is where we are now, which is what has prompted these protests, or this protest which we've seen, there has been no constitutional breach, and that everyone must join hands in waiting and allowing the committee which has been set up to investigate these matters which have been brought against the Chief Justice to complete their work, and then a way forward can be determined. And so it does appear the government has already communicated to these protesters that we're not interested in having the Chief Justice return and fill her position until the determination of the matter. We believe that she must remain suspended for the investigations to take place, after which the final determination will inform whether or not she returns.
Now, these allegations are still not known to the public, and I guess the public is wanting to know, and with all these petitions by, for instance, the New Patriotic Party, the reasons behind her suspension is the big contention, because now everyone wants to know. Now, she's expected to be summoned to answer questions in front of a committee investigating these allegations against her. Do you know when this is expected to take place, and how long of a process is this likely to be?
So, in relation to how long this is going to be, the Constitution of Ghana, quite interestingly, doesn't stipulate a time frame for which this entire process of investigating the said claims against the Chief Justice can take place. Additionally, it allows for in-camera hearings, and as such, the proceedings of the entire work of the committee is to remain away from the public. And so we do not know when the committee work is expected to start. We do not know when witnesses are going to be called. We do not even know where they are going to be sitting to start off with, unless insider sources begin to speak to us, and that is what we're on the lookout for. On matters of the content of the petition, there's been leakages of what some of these claims against the Chief Justice has been. One of such, which has dominated media conversation, has been the use of state funds to sponsor her family on a personal visit. And the argument is that when you look at the emolument package for the Chief Justice, it is very strict on not using state funds to sponsor the family on personal trips, but rather state funds can be used and even per diems paid when the Chief Justice goes on business trips. She can take a family member along and the state will cater for that and then pay per diem. But when it's a personal travel, that is not supposed to happen. That's one of the allegations which is quite dominant in all of the conversations which we've been hearing about. And so that's just by way of one of the many things, even though this entire process is to remain in camera and far away from all conversations. Another added detail, though, is that despite the protest by the opposition yesterday, they have as well proceeded to the country's Supreme Court, where they are seeking to, amongst many things, injunct the ongoing processes and then declare the entire process leading to the investigations of the Chief Justice over these claims as null and void because they believe there have been some breaches or not. The government is fighting that strongly, and we're awaiting the determination of one of such cases a lot later today from the country's Supreme Court as well.
Well, Eric, it's always a pleasure chatting to you, and thank you so much for joining us on Africa Update. We'll leave it there for today.